For more on this story, we can bring in France 24's international affairs commentator, Douglas Herbert. Hi, Doug.
How are you?
This report is 448 pages long. How much of it was redacted?
Well, first of all, 10% of it was redacted. Let me just show you, though, an example. Here is page 30 of that report. Lots to read there, i.e. nothing. 10% is redacted as in blacked out. And even though I just showed an extreme example, an entire page where there's no visible text, you do see entire portions, as you can see right now on the screen, of the report which are just redacted. You do not know what is being said there. Now, the Congress is arguing, and more specifically, the Democrats in Congress, is that they not only have an obligation, but they have the right to, in private, to be able to see the full unredacted report because they believe it's relevant. For a lot of Democrats, if you were to ask them their viewpoint, they believe that this report, in their opinion, paints a stunning picture of bottomless corruption within the Trump administration, of deceit and dishonesty and attempts to cover it up, even if there was no explicit crime construed by the Robert Mueller report, at least of collusion. They see the report as a roadmap to holding the president accountable, and they see it as their duty as lawmakers in America's Congress to do the further act of scrutiny, that they would be remiss if they were not to do so. The man who is at the head of the House Judiciary Committee, his name is Gerald Nadler. Yes, he's a Democrat. And he basically believes, he says, even the redacted version of the Mueller report, even with all the stuff you didn't see, it already paints a picture, outlines serious instances of wrongdoing by both Donald Trump and his close associates. So they believe that the unredacted version would provide a much more unvarnished picture. And he believes that now he and his colleagues, his Democratic colleagues, believe it now falls to Congress to determine the full scope of that alleged misconduct and what to do going forward about it.
Speaking about going forward, next year we have an election. How will all this help or hurt Donald Trump?
Yeah, well, first let's see what comes out of the unredacted version. Let's see if there are any, revelations.
Smoking guns, which you've been
Smoking guns, because this is going to be a battle royale right now with the Justice Department to determine how much they can see. But look, let's be honest. It's hardly a secret that most Americans have already made up their minds as to where they stand with respect to the Mueller report. That is whether they think that Donald Trump is the victim of some sort of elaborate subterfuge, that he has been victimized, that he is the victim, as he has repeatedly tweeted and stated, of a witch hunt, or whether, in fact, there is a lot more than meets the eye in the redacted version of this report, and that we absolutely have an obligation as a country to scratch that surface, get beneath, and keep scrutinizing. 6 in 10 Americans, according to an Associated Press poll, continue to believe, despite the Mueller report, that Donald Trump obstructed justice. So that's a majority of Americans. But here's where you see the polarization going forward, and this is sort of gets to the heart of your question. 84% of Democrats believe that they want to see more continued scrutiny of Trump's ties, alleged ties to Russia. 84% of Republicans beg to differ. That is, they disagree. So you have literally polarization. 84% of Democrats saying one thing, 84% of Republicans saying the other. And as you know, a lot of it has to do what news bubbles, what news climate are you living in? Everyone takes away from this report what they want to see. Donald Trump, as we know, tweeted game over. And also the Republicans are basically saying, the Republican head of the Judiciary Committee saying case closed. A lot of them are already moving on, looking ahead to 2020, and doing so with some strut in their step and some extra optimism.
Indeed. We'll see what happens in the days to come, Doug. Thank you very much for that, Douglas Herbert there.